Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us over the weekend. I am Surbhi Agarwal, founder of LegalWIki, and I welcome all of you to this webinar today on how to ace the UCG NET law exam in the first attempt. And for this webinar, we are thrilled to have Mr. Khushveer Singh, who has joined us today, and he has cleared his exam this year only. So before we dive into the session, let me take a moment to introduce LegalWIki to all of you. So, if I'll talk about LegalWIki is the first legal news platform that presents legal news under 100 words in simple language with an option to explore more in depth insights. So, whether you're a law student or legal professionals, you're so engrossed in your work and studies and often overlook the importance of staying updated. So, with LegalWIki, we are making it effortless. And with our website, you can stay informed in just less than 5 minutes a day on key legal developments. And we have received an overwhelming response, and more than 8,000 users have visited our websites in last 4 months. So our goal is to become insureds for the legal community. Now, beyond news, we have also launched LegalWIki Connect. So now what's the purpose of this? So this is a platform where top legal professionals share their career journey and insights. And through this series of webinar, we are aiming to guide you in making informed career decisions. And this is just the beginning. We're excited to have you on this journey with us. Now I'll just take another minute to share the user experience with you. Recently, based on LinkedIn poll, we conducted a survey, and I'm excited to share that we have received an amazing response. So here on your screen, I have also shared some of the responses. Like they will be referring to this daily. It was the need of an hour. It is a really great and knowledgeable website. Categorization is wonderful, and it is definitely legal version of InShorter. So I'll definitely request you to go to our website and just check once and drop us a feedback also. Okay, now let's get back to the today's webinar. So we welcome all of you to this webinar, and it is our pleasure to introduce Mr. Khushveer Singh to all of you, who will be guiding us through how to ace the UGC NET law exam in the first attempt with self-study. So Mr. Khushveer is an LLM student specializing in constitutional and administrative law at GNLU Gandhinagar. He cleared the UGC NET exam in this year only on his first attempt without coaching and just self study. He has also secured 125 rank in CLAT PG exam and All India rank 32 in AILET PG 2024. And today he will share valuable insights and providing overall perspective on UCG law examination along with a last minute strategy to clear it. So, if you want to ace the CLAT, UCG NET law exam on your first attempt and unsure how to prepare for the exam, you don't have to worry. Today, we will be covering everything you want to know about the examination, starting with the eligibility, pattern, subject-wise preparation. So, we will be covering topics from paper 1 and paper 2 as well. So, what should your study plan should look like? Resources you should be referring to. What are the common challenges and concerns among the students, aspirants who are preparing for the exam, and finally, advice and guidance. So, now, without further ado, I hand over this session to Khushveer. Thank you so much, Khushveer, for taking out time to join us today. Now, over to you.
Good morning, Survi, and good morning, everyone present. And thank you, Survi, for giving me this platform to share my insights on the exam. Firstly, this exam, my journey has been completely different. I was not aiming for UGC NET in the very first go. I gave my CLAT exam and got every NLU, but I selected GNLU Gandhinagar as my preference for completing my specialization in the LLM course. Then I came to know through my professors and my seniors that while you're pursuing a LM degree, you can also go for UGC NET exam just as a backup or future. It will open doors for other avenues also. Now about the exam, first UGC NET has two different patterns, two different parts. First is part one consisting of 50 questions, and part two consists of 100 questions and multiplied by 2, and there is no negative marking in the exam, as we all know. And there has been a trend in the past few years that UGC NET has been going through certain questions which are not even part of the syllabus. Yeah, even the students get surprised at the exam center itself that how these questions are coming. We come to know from this assessment that there is a great saturation of questions in the exam, but it's still everyone. It's for everyone, right? Not just for you and me. For everyone, it's the pattern is same for everyone, and the questions are even same for everyone. So we are at equal level while we are at the exam center giving this exam. And before this exam, there is some eligibility. Who can apply for this UGC NET exam? What is the eligibility? Minimum eligibility, you should be enrolled in LLM course. You should be enrolled in LLM course. Even in the first time, I could have given this exam. I didn't know that, but yeah, I gave this exam in my second sem. In the first time also, you can give this. You should be enrolled in a master's course. If it's a 1 year program, you can enroll in this 2 year program. In the beginning of the second year, you can enroll for the exam. Minimum requirement is you have to be enrolled in LLM course in any university or college for giving this exam, and your minimum is LLB should be completed. Then exam pattern, I already told you, 50 into 2, first part 100 marks, and then 100 into 2, 200 marks, second part, that is law for us. And part syllabus for paper 1, that is teaching and research aptitude, that's part 1, because this is common for every area, not just law. Every area there is psychology, geography, history, etc. Every area. And part 2, that is specialization, that is specific for the law graduates who are pursuing LLM in their respective courses. Part one, it's very dynamic subject and dynamic part because it has lots of units or the chapters that we have to cover. But to be honest, in this there are two parts. There is one common book that we all say, KVS Madan. There is one book, KVS Madan, which all the seniors suggest that you should read this book. But I didn't read this book thoroughly. I just saw the two chapters in the month of January. Then I saw that it's very huge book to cover. Just first two chapters of teaching aptitude and research aptitude. I saw the questions and I got to know that they are not asking the same type of questions again and again. But I was just seeing whether what are the type of questions they can ask and the options which are they changing in the every year by year they are changing the options through option. This to be honest, this is also a paper where you can excel while you attempt the questions seriously at the exam center, not just preparation. So anyone who is saying that I'm not prepared for UGC NET exam, they shouldn't avoid giving exam, because this exam can, even a person who has good command over the subjects, the concepts of every law and different avenues, they can attempt this exam and see where they stand in the exam. And in the part one, it's very dynamic. Who is preparing for other exam other than UGC NET, it's very helpful for them because it asks different questions from maths, reasoning, research aptitude, teaching aptitude, and there is one subject in the LLM first sem, research methodology, which is also part of one of the units of this part one, which helps. That is suffice. The syllabus of that subject is suffice for you to cover that unit. And in maths, the data interpretation question that are very easy, you can do it on the at the exam center itself. If you have basic general maths, subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, you can do data interpretation also. And there is one also brownie question passage, you can say, that is of comprehension based, 5 into 2, 10 marks also. From that you can cover out of 50, out of 15 to 200 marks, you can easily get 30-40 marks. The hard work comes when you have to get the 10 to 15 questions correct in order to be eligible for the AP, or at least for PhD. You have to get that extra 10 to 15 questions correct, and for that comes your aptitude by solving previous year questions, by seeing what the pattern has been going through again and again, and mostly through. And don't leave any question because there are no negative marking, right? So you attempt every question first. In the first go, you are able to attempt any question you attempt in the very first go. But in the second reading, you are able to eliminate one or two options more, attempt that questions, and even you don't know anything about the question, attempt it on the basis of general logic or anything. And then In the first part I have made some things like there is an environmental section also in the part 1. It has, I think it's 8th or ninth unit, where if you have basic command over in even environmental law, certain acts like environmental protection act and forest act and all, they also ask law, the general knowledge questions of law in the part 1 itself, in the ninth unit, that's environmental law. You can attempt those questions. And there was one this questions one there was one question in our exam, where they asked whether which of the organizations is connected with the respective exam bodies connected with the exam authority, where the MCA, Medical Council of India, was connected with conducting the rules and regulation for the medical MBBS degree. That was the question you we could have done through our common sense and logic, even after not reading thoroughly about the subjects, because there are certain unit subtopics are also given in the syllabus itself. So the syllabus is very clear, but it's not limited to that. These, to be honest, this is not limited to such subtopics in today. When it comes to today's paper, they can ask even the revolving subtopics around the subtopics, questions pertaining to them. But we can do the attempt those questions at the while giving the exam also, if we apply common sense and logic. And there is another one mistake I made. To be honest, I didn't read. There is one Indian logic, Indian value system. They ask certain questions from Indian value logic system. You can attempt. You can read that questions, because there are almost 4 to 5 questions. That is around 8 to 10 marks. They ask pertaining to teachings of Jainism, Buddhism, Indian value system. They ask certain very complex terms, which you can read and eliminate and get fetch those 5 to 6 marks, bonus marks, which can help you in getting UGC NET part 1, excel in part 1. And also there is a there's I already told you, brownie brown 2 3 passages are brownie. One is passage 5 into 2, 10 marks. Data interpretation question you can do. There are 10 questions, around 20 questions you can get them. And maths and reasoning are not that difficult, because one who is giving any insurance or banking exam, the level of maths and reasoning is very high, but not, it's not the same when it comes to UGC. There are certain questions which are 4 to 5 questions which everyone won't know, even he has read for like many 6 to 7 months or 8 months. They won't know. There are certain questions which odd questions which are also come in the part 1 also, which are meant for everybody, not just for me and you and everybody. You can ignore, but you should attempt this question, because there is I will repeat again, because there is no negative marking again. You should attempt those questions also. And that sum ups are part 1. And still, if you have left some questions left, you are not able to recall or not able to complete that question, come again, because there is lots. The time is too much, 3 hours to complete the whole. You can attempt any part 1 or part 2, anytime. It's not that you have to complete part 1 then you can go on to part 2. You can attempt the whole paper in one go, any question at any time, any point of time. So be comfortable according to your own comfortability level, which questions to attempt first, and then come to the questions which you found difficult or not able to comprehend in the first reading or the second reading. Then attempt this question to save time, because there is a lot of time. Time is not the constraint in this exam. When it comes to this exam, there's a lot of time. Only the maths and a few reasoning questions take time. Otherwise, if you know the question, you can get the question, and on the basis of elimination also, you can attempt at 12 questions. And now when it comes to law is very it's going through a certain change. I have seen the past year papers. They were just asking some simple question. Still, there are out of 100 questions, there are some 25 to 30 questions which are easy to go for. Everyone can attempt those questions. It's easy questions. But when it comes to rest of the questions, they are asking different things, and also some different concepts which are not taught in the law school itself. And also some concepts which are booming in the recent trend. They are asking questions about them. Like there was one question pertaining to John Doe order, Anton Pillar order. These are not taught in the law schools, but these are the orders which are prominent, used by the our apex court, Supreme Court, in its latest judgments. They ask this question because these are in the latest trends, so they can ask anything. So in part 1, when it comes to to be honest, when it comes to part 2 law, my base was built up upon my CLAT PG and AILET PG preparation. I referred to those subjects itself, and I revised bit 5 to 10 days that subjects only, because I will tell you one thing. If you read for one particular exam or prep for one exam, read it thoroughly. Even if you don't clear the exam, it doesn't matter. Read it thoroughly. Your concepts should be clear. And UGC NET, I think if your concepts are clear, you don't recall certain facts, you can still clear the exam if you have command over the conceptual clarity over different subjects. That was the key for me. It can be different for you, but that was the key for me. I had good command over every subject, barring, to be honest, public international law, because they were asking different questions from public Geneva Convention. I haven't read those convention, but except those, I have conceptual. When it comes to concepts, I have conceptual clarity because due to my thorough preparation for CLAT and AILET PG, I was able to tackle those questions by eliminating certain questions. When it comes to subject wise, I will say jurisprudence. I read Prajanape. There is a NV Prajanape. There is a book by authored by NV Prajanape. You should read these books, and there are the certain respective 8 to 10 chapters which are provided by the UGC NET in their respective syllabus. You can cover those subjects easily from that book, NV Prajanpe. Then comes Constitution and Administrative Law. This subject has been my passionate passion, so I read this subject a lot during my CLAT preparation as well, and this is also my specialization subject, LLM Masters. So I did not have any difficulty in attempting the questions from this segment, and there are a lot of questions, around 10 to 15 questions asked from this segment, around 30 marks. That is very important, are asked from this segment, both constitutional plus administrative law. But for administrative law, I read IP Messi during my CLAT PG preparation, which is also read by all of us in the law school itself while pursuing our LLB. And then for public international law, I will suggest read Eki Jain Dukki. It's a book referred by DU students to while giving their exam, but it's not book for just them. We can also refer that book because it's short, precise, and crisp. All the concepts are very explained in a very short and crisp manner and in a very beautiful manner with certain examples and case laws which are very important. I was able to tackle many of the public international conceptual questions and factual question also from that book, AKGen, that is the key. And for crimes, that they ask IPC, not substantive law only, not procedural law. CRPC is not asked. For crimes now, I think the pattern will go to a different change because BNSS has come into picture. They asked BNS provisions also, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita provisions also, certain provisions, but they were restricted this time to most of the questions were from IPC. But I think for the June 2025 exam, they will ask question from BNS also, important provision, and a link between both the old and newer laws. So Bare Act is a must, and not don't have to read all the provisions, only the major provisions. Right? We were taught in law school against body, property, offences, general exceptions. Definition clauses has gone to a different change. It's going to be a game changer, and to be honest, in every subject, if there is a statute or a law and is there a definition clause, they ask many questions from definition clause, like where is the term person interested defined under the statute. This was a question in our exam, and it was, I think the answer was patent law, person interested. They ask question, person interest, who is a person interested defined. I didn't know that because it can be anything, but they ask questions from definition clauses also in the IPR. They are going to they won't just ask questions pertaining to concepts. They ask one big thing that I came across in this exam, which was very different from other exams. They ask lots of chronological questions. Are in the options or the things in the chronological order. If you don't know one or two things, you might not be able to connect, but still attempt this question on the basis of your chronology, what you have read in the past. Attempt these questions on your understanding and how to attempt this question on in a systematic manner in chronological order. This is, you should keep in mind what comes first. Like they asked one of the questions, like arrange the respective fundamental duties as they are in the, but they didn't ask A B C D E F G. They asked A J K F, which we don't read even. We just know certain the duties which we have gone through multiple times, but we still don't know them chronological. They ask questions chronologically. What comes first? Which duty comes first in the chronological order? And in the exam and in the exam center, even if you know, we tend to forget things because it's that type of question which confuses us all. We have to be very thorough with this, and we have to keep in mind while reading all the subjects. Keep in mind the chronological order, like which part comes first, which section comes first. I think the part and the certain duties and provisions are important, and also the important provision, not just any provision, important provisions which are very important while we read the subject. And landmark case laws, to be honest, in every subject you have to read landmark case laws. They ask landmark case laws, they ask in the public international about not a one case which pertains to nationality. It is a very landmark case, and they ask this case, and many case are like Kendra, Rural Litigation Environment Entitlement Kendra, that is Doon Valley case, where limestone quarry case, which was asked in the environmental segment. And for torts and consumer law, you can read certain basics which are taught, like act of God, the principles which we can defend voluntary non-fit injuria. They asked these questions a lot. Torts was thoroughly covered in this exam also, the last previous year, December 2024 exam, which was conducted in January 2025. Lots of questions were from tort. Consumer by one or two pertaining to the commissions, national, state, and district. All the you have to remember the caps and all, like what is the limit for each state organization, state commission, district commission, and national commission, respectively. And the time period along which the appeal has to be filed, they ask questions pertaining to that. Contract, sales of goods act, and partnership is the area where you have to be thorough with the Barrett, to be honest. Nothing can replace this. You have to be thorough with contract, sales of goods act, and partnership. Barrett should be covered, especially the contract act and sales of goods act. You have to be thorough with the Barrett, because they can ask anything. They can take a statement from the Barrett and ask whether this is true, and whether this is a voidable agreement or void agreement. They ask whether restraint of trade, marriage is a void or voidable agreement, and they can ask basics. So if you're thorough with the Berec, you can master this area easily. And then when it comes to company law, there are certain questions which are asked from company law. Company law only basics. I won't say you read the whole Berec, that is 2013 Act. Just basics. From GK Kapoor, there are certain chapters. The GK Kapoor is the book which I read during my CLAT preparation, and also saw briefly in this exam also. And there are certain chapters which are very important. First chapter, that is article of association and all companies, minimum directors in a single one person company, public company, private company, and all these questions. And all certain CSR questions pertaining to CSR, corporate social responsibility, and directors. They ask these questions again and again. These are repeated but in a different manner. Like for 1 year they will ask what was the minimum director, what can be the minimum number of directors in a public company. Next year they will ask what can be the minimum number of directors in a private company. Like this they changes. But you should keep these things in mind, that what is the in the trend. But to be honest, you have to read every subject thoroughly, not give just, okay, I will leave those 2 3 subjects, because these what I have seen in this certain 2 3 past year exams, I have seen past year papers which I see that they have been focusing more on IPR, company law, environmental law, and public international law. This has been these subjects were less focused in the previous years. Now they are asking more and more questions on these areas. You cannot leave them, because we think that IPR is very small. They won't ask much questions. But this year, I think they asked around 7 to 6 questions from IPR. That means 14 to 16 marks. And also from public international law, there were around 7 to 8 questions. And also for environmental law, 5 to 6 questions. Around 1/5, 25% of the weightage was from these 3 subjects, which we tend to ignore. You cannot leave any subject untouched, because you have to read every subject thoroughly. By even if you're not able to cover whole, you have to be conceptually clear, and read at least the definition clauses and the major concepts thoroughly, which will, and along with the case laws, landmark case laws, that will help you in attempting any questions easily. And then when it comes to family law, you have to read just basics from both Hindu and Mohammedan law. They ask both the laws, Hindu and Mohammedan law both. Like many of the questions were from this Marzul, Maut, Iddat period, Muslim, when it comes to Muslim law. And Hindu, there are certain questions from Minority Guardianship Act, and also this marriage, Hindu Marriage Act, HMA, grounds of divorce and all. But they asked, one of the question was, again, I will repeat that they asked the question, arrange the grounds of divorce in a chronological order as given under section 13. They asked this question, but we just knew the ground, but not which ground comes first. We didn't know that, because if someone is thorough with the Bayrak, that's why Bayrak becomes important. That you have mastered the major provisions, not the whole Bayrak, even the mastered just the major provisions of the act. You can answer those questions easily. And then it comes to environmental law, your UG syllabus, which you covered when you were in the law school. That is enough. Suffice, like Article 21 cases, and 51 AG, and 48A. These are the provisions, and also landmark cases which were all taught. All the MC Mehta's case, Tas trapezium, oleum gas tragedy, all these cases, and all the acts, major acts and their major provisions. They even ask Forest Conservation Act, which is not taught in our law school. There are lots of questions, two, three questions for Forest Act. They are pertaining to the 2002 Act, and also RLEC, Rural Education and Entitlement Kendra, and TN Godavarman case, and all this. You should cover this. You can refer any short material, 10 to 15 pages for this, together to see which are the important provisions in the respective acts and which are the landmark cases in the respective acts. And when it comes to IPR, there is one document by Nishit Desai. I read the document. Nishit Desai has a document on IPR law. In short, in 40 to 50 pages, they have covered 50 to 60 pages. They have covered the whole IPR segment. In the Nishit Desai, there is a document in the Nishit Desai. That's one of the firms. They have a document. You can Google it. You can easily find it. And VK Ahuja, certain chapters like pertaining to patent, trademark, not the whole chapter, just the important provisions which I found relevant, and VK Ahuja is the book. And then it's come to comparative public law. Last 10 subject which is mentioned in the syllabus is the comparative public law. Comparative public law, I haven't read this subject thoroughly, but this is the subject which is taught in the LLM first sem in all the NLUs and all the respective. It is mandated by UGC in all respective universities and colleges that the syllabus which has been covered through those units or modules which are in the respective courses, LLM courses, which are sufficient for covering this subject. They ask, but the main countries are India, USA, and UK. I think they don't ask about Canada and barring a few, but India, US, and UK. India we all read. USA and UK comparison is important between India, US, and UK. They ask, and even between USA and UK, they ask mostly from USA because there are lots of common features we adopted from USA and UK also. They can ask the Westminster parliamentary system of government was adopted from. That's the they won't ask, but this is a question. For example, they can ask whichever. And separation of powers, like they ask whether India follows the strict separation of power or not, or USA follows strict separation. There was one question, and lastly, I will show you. Can I present, Surbi?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
I
So
have some
there's one option present. Can you see there? Settings
uh,
present. You have the option. Yes.
PDF. I have PDF.
So
Upload file. I have to
now,
upload it there. Upload request.
you'll have to upload and then you can present that.
Okay. Profile. It's on a desktop. This is one of the question papers I found. I can show you for the law. I can show. There are certain questions you can attempt and eliminate on the basis of the options itself. In the end, you can ask any if anyone of is present or seen. They can ask any questions if they have any query. I will answer them shortly.
Now I think add to this stage.
एक minute. I have
Yeah.
to go to slide number 41. I think this is not moving forward. I think. No.
Yeah, it's moving forward. You want to go to page number
41.
40, 41.
It's
Just a
41.
13, 15, 16, 8. Just a second. I'm
It's
doing that.
visible. Is it?
Yeah, yeah, it's visible. Just a second. I'm doing that. It's 30, 31, 32. Now, yeah, we are at page numbers 80. Huh. This is the page number 40. Oh,
One minute. One minute. अरे इंटरनेट लॉस्ट. अरे मानिक इंटरनेट by connect disconnect हो गया.
We no, you are not on mute. It's connected.
So am I audible? Am I audible? I lost the connection. Sorry for the
Yes,
delay.
yes, yes.
I will
No
upload.
problem, not an issue.
Again, I lost the connection. Is it uploaded? Next slide.
Yes, it's uploaded
Uh,
now. I've added to the stage.
yeah, yeah. Go to the law segment. It's a 39 number slide. 39.
So,
Why is it coming yet again?
just a
Slide.
second, I'll help you out. Just a second.
Uh,
Just a second.
slide number 39. Slide number
Huh.
39.
I don't know, something is wrong with this. We're not able to move
It's
this.
coming again back. It's coming back and forth.
Huh.
It's okay, okay.
Again,
I
it's
will
going
just
back.
read the question. It's not, I will read the question itself.
Ha ha ha.
There are certain 4 to 5 questions only. Just repeat the question only from my PDF only. Yeah. So there was this question in the question number 74 in the, I don't know the set, but there was this question in the law segment that which of the following are true for adjudicating officers under the Information Technology Act 2000. To be honest, I haven't read that act thoroughly and especially to the powers of the adjudicating officers. But you could attempt this question while attempting the while seeing the options, eliminating the options. One of the options was the D option. You can there was a D option that those adjudicating officers have a power deemed to be a civil code for the purpose of section 340 and 341 of CRPC 1973. If it's a civil code, how can the power be linked to CRPC? It was a clear yeah. If the person, even an individual doesn't know about IT Act, if he had seen the Section D, option D, deemed that the adjudicating officers under the IT Act have a power deemed are considered to be a civil code, but for the purpose of Section 340 and 341 of CRPC, that cannot be so. Because the Section 340 and 341 of CRPC, that will be criminal code, not civil code. So D gets eliminated, and it's D gets eliminated. You can eliminate two options, and then comes B. All proceedings before it deemed to be judicial proceeding. It can be judicial proceeding. Clear logic. You could attempt this question easily, even after not knowing the whole act. You could attempt this question wholly. And then there was another question, page number 41. I think. Hmm. Yes. This question, like. Yes, like there were match the following questions. There were certain four acts, like for which of the provision on penalties, and one side there was the act, and you have to match with the respective provision with the respective act to their provision pertaining to penalties. I only out of the four, I only knew one, and on the basis of that, I eliminated all the options. Even I after that I was able to arrive at the right option because I know the provision pertaining to penalties of Forest Conservation Act were there in section 3 and 3b. Even if you know 25% about the question, after seeing at the option, you can eliminate and arrive at the question. These are the questions, even if you haven't read, you can arrive at the exam center itself on the basis of the knowledge you have attained after your preparation. These are the questions you do by clear logic and eliminating the options. And by looking at the options thoroughly, you can do these questions. And next was this page number 55 question. Slide number 55.
You are referring to
There was
this year question.
this year only. There was this question: in order to constitute a merge ul moth, which of the following conditions must be satisfied? There were five options. The malady or illness must result in the death. Option B: the illness must cause reasonable apprehension of death in the mind of donor. Option C: there should be some external indicia of a serious illness. And D: there must be an apprehension of death in the mind of physician. And E: delivery of position must be given to the donor. I just knew what is Marzul Maut. If Marzul Maut is when someone is on the deathbed, they give someone. It's a concept under Muslim law, but I didn't know in depth. The question which they asked was it very depth. But one of the option was that there must be apprehension of death in the mind of physician, and they said which of the following condition must be satisfied. Why the apprehension of death in the mind of physician will be relevant when the person is on the deathbed of, if the physician apprehends someone, it's not related to any law. It's on the basis of his medical. It's limited to his medical knowledge only, not pertaining to law. So there was this option. There must be an apprehension of death in the mind of physician. D gets eliminated because there cannot be apprehension of death in the mind of physician, which pertains to law. Marzul Maut. A person giving a property to someone, how can apprehension of death in the mind of a physician will be relevant after arriving at such a concept? You can eliminate this question. D gets eliminated. We get the answer A, B, C, E, and you can do these questions because in all the four options were given. Options were given out of five, and if D gets eliminated, we get the answer that uh, except D, everything is correct, and we arrived at the question that was A, B, C, and E. Like this, if you have conceptual clarity, you can eliminate many options and arrive at the questions. Like I will say, to be honest, if you are reading any subject, and even if you have hardly read anything, just throw the major concepts and see the previous year questions really become very important because they show how to attempt the questions. They show what to read, what not to read, because in this exam there is lots of syllabus. One cannot complete the whole syllabus even if he reads for 5 to 6 months. Syllabus cannot be completed, to be honest, because there is lots of areas to be covered. But when it comes to law, you can read the only the important areas and important concepts and major acts and the laws which are provided in the syllabus 10, like from juris to environmental law, company law, contract act. You can read those bare which are provided under the syllabus. You can read them thoroughly, and the books I have referred only. And the barracks we all read. We have to be thorough with the barracks because they can ask the chronological order or any important provision pertaining which we have neglected or might have neglected while we were studying. We should read those questions thoroughly. Previous year question was very important. And if anyone has any question, they can ask.
Just a second.
And if
So I have prepared few questions. So we'll just check that if we have covered all these questions or not, and accordingly you can answer. So I think about the exam eligibility pattern, you have already tell us in in a detailed manner how you are supposed to go about subject by subject. What are the books you are supposed to refer? What are the topics you are supposed to refer? And if we'll cover about subject wise preparations, so what are the types of questions you have explained us, how to go about paper 1 and paper 2. Also, if someone is not good with maths in that situation, do you have any suggestion how the person should go about it? So mostly when it comes to the law students, mostly they avoid the data interpretation part. So do you have any suggestion for that?
to be honest, I think they asked around 10 to 8 to 9 questions of maths. Barring one or two question, every question is easy, not that difficult. Just basic subtraction, addition, percentage you have to calculate. Like in the data, in our data interpretation, out of 10 questions, one was very difficult. Nine were easy. Nine questions were very easy. You could do this if you have. First, you have to calculate how many students were left out, how many students were inducted again in the respective courses. if you make this table and then attempt the question, you have to do some little bit of hard work of 5 to 10 minutes. Then you can solve those questions easily. But these questions, if you see on any YouTube video, short trick video pertaining to maths, you can easily solve. Rest, there are 2 3 questions which they even asked in this year also. One was very difficult. I think they asked 1 and 2 upon 10 x bar. There was bar going. This is a very technical question. I think it was bachelor's degree of maths level question. They will ask these questions every year, but easy questions you can tackle easily. Just see a short trick video on any YouTube platform or on any book you are comfortable with reading pertaining to data interpretation. Certain there are questions for pipes and systems, average, basic questions you can do, and you can tackle them easily. Out of those 10 questions, you can do 8 and 9 questions, because maths is easy to cover, because it's not that difficult as asked in the banking and insurance exam, where the max level is too high, very hard. It's very difficult to attempt those questions. But when it comes to UGC NET, the questions are not that tough, barring a few questions which will be there every year. You have to ignore those questions, except you have to focus on the questions which are easy, and a bonus for everyone who can attempt those questions. Because to be honest, even if there had not been maths and reasoning questions, they were very easy, and certain were help because I was preparing for government different law officer exams. They helped me in tackling those questions. That helped me in tackling those questions,
Okay.
and you
So,
can attempt those questions.
if I'll see the past year, previous year question paper, so do they repeat the previous year question paper also, or it's like the
Very,
unique question? Huh.
very rarely they are, but they can there can be similar type of question, not the identical type of question.
Okay,
Questions
got
can be
it.
similar but not same type of question, but not same. Exactly.
If I'll talk about the difficulty level, how's the difficulty level of the exam?
This year,
Like,
I
if
think the difficulty level was not that difficult, except barring I said the 3 laws: IPR, Public International Law, and the Company Law. There were some complex questions from them, except Constitution, Administrative Law, Contract. They were easy. Even the torts, and these were easy, but they are focusing more on areas which we haven't read. Like IPR, we haven't read that in depth. They are asking more questions. Public international law, they are asking questions pertaining to different conventions. Arrange those conventions. Arrange the provisions of this convention, like which part is mentioned in which convention, which article, which everyone doesn't read, but these are focusing more on. If we can know the previous year, their past year questions become important. What questions to see and what areas you should focus more.
great. Okay, and as you have already mentioned, solving previous year question paper is very important, and through which they will understand what type of questions are being asked in the exam. And apart from that, if we'll talk about mock test, so how many mock tests you have given? What is the platform through which they can solve the mock test? If you can talk about this.
If I mock test, to be honest, I haven't given any mock test. But if you solve one previous year exam or 2 3 previous, that is equivalent to mock solving a mock test. You can attempt 2 3 previous year questions, and if you have time, you can get any good coaching or platform where you can attempt mock. But if you don't have any time, previous year question, solving previous year question will suffice, to be honest. And they even help you in what to read, what not to read, and which area to focus more when it comes to law, especially law also.
Okay, great. Let's move further. So you have already told us what are the smart strategies they can use for the cracking the exam. Okay, okay. There is one more question: how they can divide their time between the two papers. So there are a lot of they have, there's a question that so basically they should start from paper one or paper two, or how they're supposed to divide their time between both the papers. So
I think uh, this is this depends on the comfortability level of a student. I think you should see the whole paper in one go, whether because you can click. I think you should attempt the question which you find comfortable in the very first go. Like if you are
okay,
comfortable with data interpretation, start with data interpretation. You are comfortable with law, start with law. And if you're not unable to answer that question or figure out that question in the very first go or in 2 readings, skip that question, come at a later point of time, because you can the time you are saving at that point of time can be used later on. The time is not the constraint in this question. If you attempt in a very fast manner and comfortability level, you attempt those questions which you are comfortable with. Even you can attempt part one first or part two first. You can attempt any question of any part anytime. So it's not the bar. So at at the students' comfortability level, they can attempt the questions.
Okay, great. And so, okay, there's one more last question. So, what kind of career opportunities will open up after qualifying for this exam?
Uh, the most important is the assistant professorship. I think uh, you have to. I think after clearing net, you have to be enrolled in a PhD. You have to enroll for a PhD. Then there is for respective university there are different requirements. For private university, many private universities on the basis of UGC net clearing UGC net and PhD enrollment they take you. But for certain NLUs, they demand certain Scopus index articles and journals. You have to be published like two or three, and yeah, it opens up avenues for your professorship in different respective private or public universities. NLUs, non-NLUs, private, you can teach anywhere. And even there is certain above UGC net there is UGC JRF. If you want to prepare for any exam or want to take more time for an exam, if you have cleared JRF, there is a junior research fellowship, which you can, if you clear that exam, you can grant after enrolling in the PhD. You can get grant from the central government for like 3 years. It's around 30 to 32,000, I think. It might have changed. You
Okay.
can, there is a above it. You should aim for JRF if you are giving this exam. I was just aiming for net. I could have gotten
And
JRF,
someone who actually
but
wants to get into the research or PhD work, so basically GRF will actually help
uh,
them out because the
JRF
government
will be
also, ha.
the you get
Okay,
monthly plus if you are
Ma-
pursuing JRF, getting JRF and also joining as some teaching research assistants in some university, you will get two pays. One of JRF,
correct.
one of as assistants in that college. Or if you are getting assistant professorship in a private university, you will get PhD enrollment plus tag of the salary from the assistant professorship. So it's an added advantage if you are going through research and all. It gives you financial independence. That's all.
So moving on to our last question. Just a second. Yes. So someone who's basically preparing for this exam and who will be giving the exam this year. So any last minute tip you would like to give to the students? So
I think just if you even if you haven't covered anything which you found very unique or different in this subject, because to be honest, we all have completed our LLB and we are thorough with our conceptual clarity of different subjects, but just visit them once again because I had cleared CLAT 1 year ago. When I opened the book once again for the giving net exam, I found that I lacked revisions. Multiple time revision was required. If I had multiple revisions, I could have gotten JRF also. That was a not that mistake you should not make. You should read all the subjects thoroughly, revise them, all even the important provisions thoroughly. You can easily crack UGC net if you are thorough with the concepts and the basic major areas. And don't try to avoid this exam that you are not thoroughly prepared or I'm not 100% sure whether to give it or not. Just give it a go because twice a year this is conducted, and this year I think it will be conducted thrice. It already happened once, and in the June and December it will happen two more times. So give if you're not 100, even if you're not 100% sure, attempt this exam because it gives you an idea what areas you are lacking or what areas you can improve more. Even if you cleared UGC net, you will aim for UGC JRF that for clearing those areas or attempting those questions from that respective areas more thoroughly, you will give the exam next year. So and be confident on your strategy and any study material you're using. Just be confident over yourself and be conscious at the examination center, because these exams I thought that 50% of the game is at the exam center itself. Because even while attempting the questions, I got to know that there are certain questions which I could attempt while eliminating the options or by looking at the twist they are playing with the words in the questions itself or in the options. So if you go through those options or questions in a very depth manner, you can attempt this question easily. And at the exam center also, this the question is same for everyone, whether it's easy or difficult. So keep that in mind and attempt the questions. You will sail through definitely. And best of luck who are preparing and giving the exam this year. Best of luck to all.
so that's it, Khushveer, and thank you so much for such an insightful session. It was truly invaluable, and I think you have covered all the aspect of this exam, and we really appreciate explaining you each and every aspect of the exam. What are the question you should refer to by explaining to the previous year paper? What are the books you should refer, and the important questions also. And I'm sure this session will greatly help the aspiring students who will be appearing for the exam this year and later on also. Thank you so much, sir.
And thank you, Survey, for giving me this platform for sharing my insights. Wish we could meet in future with some other exams also. If
Definitely,
I
definitely.
fail through those exams, and it's good to
Yeah.
see that you have created such a platform for different exams. I saw one Mr. I don't recall the name, one who has cleared RBI grade. It's great for
Yes.
people who are pursuing or
Current.
aiming for RBI grade. It's great to see that you have created such a platform to for the aspirants to follow certain tips. Thank you once again,
Yeah.
Sunny, for doing
Okay,
this.
thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget to visit our website, legalwiki.co. And you can also subscribe to our channel for staying updated with our upcoming webinars. Thank you so much, everyone.